Here we go. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, all you stylists from the break room. We've got Carmelina with us this morning. We're talking about why scalp health matters. Going to be discussing all of this. And this is leading up to a lot of our programs that we have coming up in the next couple of weeks, especially March 2nd. We're going to be in Downers Grove doing head spa class, all thing about treatment. So go to HTBbeauty.com, check it out, and let's get right into this. Good morning, Carmelina. Thanks for joining.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
What's going on? What are we going to be doing about scalp health today? How are we going to attack this topic?
So we're going to attack this topic by, I'm going to ask you a question like this. What makes a scalp unhealthy?
What makes a scalp unhealthy?
Yes,
Well,
I know there's variables of things.
There's a lot of different things that come into it. You know, the main things that we're going to be talking about is going to be assessing where and when and why it happens, build up, pH balance, diet, retail products, services, frequency of how often you're washing. I mean, there's so many. Inflammation is a major one. That's we got a whole program that we teach about scalp health that's just revolved and centered all around inflammation and how that affects hair color, how that affects hair extensions, haircut styling, all of that jazz. So there's I guess we could just start taking one thing at a time and going from there. I mean, which one you want to tackle first? Because you got to go deep into all of these.
Yeah, let's start with the buildup.
With the buildup. Well, build up again. I mean, there's so many different versions of
you've got there's minerals in the water.
Okay, so water source, that's a good start. Water source, a lot of people don't realize, like at a minimum we're like, oh, I'm on well water or I'm on city water. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. And then a lot of people understand that if you're on well water, your hair naturally has a tendency to turn brassy because there's a lot of buildup in the well water. So then you need softeners. Then you need chlorines, chlorides, all those salts, all those different things to try to clean that water. Yeah, okay, fine. But now you've got that buildup into your hair. So your hair is not as brassy anymore. You've corrected that issue, but you've traded it for another issue, In city water, yeah, okay, fine. It's always moving, it's always running. So it kind of naturally keeps the minerals from settling and depositing into your hair and onto your scalp is bad. But you've got all the different water sources of where all that city water is coming from the lake, from the river, from the ocean, where's it all coming from? So then they have to clean that water and they got to put stuff in there and they got to filter that out. So then you're just trading one thing for something else. At the end of the day, regardless of what your water source is, you have to understand you're always going to end up with some kind of deposit or some kind of buildup, some kind of residue on there. So then it all leads into frequency of washing. If you wash your hair in every day, would that be the best thing? Not necessarily, because then you could be over cleansing. And then you wash your hair every other day. Well, then they say that's the most ideal. So you give your day a rest from the shampoo. But does your scalp need condition every day? So your hair got a break. Okay, fine, but what about your scalp? Does your scalp need that equal break? Or does it still need nutrition every day? Then do you wait every second day, third day, fourth day, once a week, once every other week? Like, this is where it all comes to matter on how often are you washing your hair. Most people think they're washing because we're literally saying you're washing your hair. And that's all everybody thinks about is just the hair. But not everybody's thinking about the scalp. You've got to
Yeah,
be washing
fair.
the scalp, you know. Getting the hair clean is actually a lot easier than a lot of people realize. You can literally wash your hair with conditioner and you'd be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
If the hair itself doesn't have a lot of buildup on it, and if the hair itself is fine, like, can you imagine with your curls if you shampoo cleansed your hair every single day? How dry, like your hair would look like straw. It was so dry. It'd be craziness.
Yeah, I have to use lots of conditioning.
You got to use a lot of conditioner because you always got to replenish and restore all the nutrition, all the vitamins back into your hair. I mean, you take vitamins in the morning every day for the rest of your body.
Mm-hmm.
When you eat food, you're supposed to eat a balanced meal to some effect, you know, so you can get
Right.
certain nutritional value to balance out whatever your body's needs are. Same thing for the scalp. Same
Yeah.
exact thing for the scalp. Yeah.
All right. Um, then we have the pH imbalance.
I mean, pH imbalance, that's a tough one because that's what everybody's talking about nowadays with the diet restrictions, with the supplements, with the all the medications that everybody is on. I mean, pH balance,
True.
it's so hard to discover. Like, not everybody's going to sit in their shower and do a litmus test on their scalp, nor are
No.
they going to do it on their hair. And not everybody's going to go in and get an evaluation to find out what that is, you know? I think pH balance matters more for the professional stylist for when we're talking about doing hair color or when we're talking about doing certain types of treatments and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true because you always say you have to seal the cuticle.
You got to see the cuticle. Right. So, you know, okay. So if you're using, you know, like a lot of conditioners are acidic based, so they're supposed to lower the pH, right? But
Yeah.
some shampoos are alkaline, so they're supposed to raise the pH. You got to open your cuticle so you can get the crap out of there. Then you got to put the good stuff in, and then you got to seal it. So there's this constant influx of up and down the scale. It's not always, and nor should it be always, sitting at a neutral base, at a resting
Right.
base, you know. And then what type of hair do you have? Is it thin? Is it soft? Is it thick? Is it coarse? Is it delicate? Is it compromised? Is it healthy? Is it too healthy? Being neutral is not always the answer in every scenario, in every situation. But then you also have to consider and understand as well. If you're going, like, some people condition the crap out their hair. So their
Yeah.
hair is very, very low on the pH scale, meaning it's very acidic. So then when they go to do a chemical service, whether it's a hair color, whether it's a relaxer, a perm, a keratin smoothing, you know, all of these things are going to raise the pH level of the hair. Well, if you're not starting off from a neutral base, you're starting off from a lower level, then you may not raise high enough to where that service needs to be for it to be optimal. And then you get these inconsistent results. This is why sometimes color doesn't it all the way. This is why sometimes people are like, you know, I've had these smoothing treatments in the past and they lasted a long time and they smoothed my hair out really nicely. But this last couple of times, it hasn't been smoothing my hair out very nicely.
Okay.
Well, for example, if your hair was so jacked up from the beginning and the first time you got the smoothing treatment, it was able to absorb fully and balance out the hair and do everything it needed to do and wanted to do to it, then you got the ideal scenario and situation. Well, now it's conditioned your hair. Now it's lowered the pH and it's locked that in. So if you're not doing proper, I'm not saying you're not doing the pre-treatment steps. I'm saying if you're not properly doing the pre-treatment steps, then you're not allowing the service to start off at the base number, the base level that it needs to start off from, for it to raise the hair into whatever level it needs to go. Okay.
Right, that's why sometimes maybe the hair color, oh, you missed this spot, but maybe you didn't because, like you said, the pH imbalance.
I mean, missing a spot, you know, when clients think you missed a spot, that is a combination of so many. That's a great point that you're bringing up, because what do you got going on? You could have buildup in that spot. You could have, you didn't apply and saturate it enough for that spot because there was buildup, or because you didn't pre-treat that hair first properly. You know, there's so many variables
Mhm.
involved. How do you explain everywhere else got applied properly
Right.
and then just that one spot didn't get applied? How? Or if you know in your head, I know I applied the whole thing. How did that one spot not grab good enough?
Yeah.
So many variables involved that are fighting against you, you know. At the simplest, most basic form, buildup is a huge culprit. And that buildup can, I mean, the easy thing to say buildup is from, you know, not washing your hair. But we forget, we forget so often your nails and your hair
Mm-hmm.
is just the excess nutrition from your body. You know, we use our nail and our hair as cosmetic, but it's
Yeah.
really from the science, from the body, it's not about the cosmetics. It's about protecting the body. So if you don't have enough balance in your body, you're not going to have enough nutrition, overflow, leftover excess nutrition, then it's just not going to send it to the hair. It's not going to send it to the nails. You know, then that's going to cause, you know, variable spots throughout your scalp, and the hair is not going to hair is not going to grow properly, and it's not going to take properly. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah. And then it takes us to the inflammation part.
Inflammation, man, there are so many things that cause inflammation. Okay, I mean, just look at, we're in the winter now, and if you look
Oh,
across the
the
country,
cold.
all the cold weather, you got extreme swings in cold weather, and then it gets double digits warm, then it gets single digit cold.
Yeah.
The body is, the body is going to go through those extreme swings. Okay, us personally, depending on your age, you get a hot flash, 5 minutes later you're freezing. It's the reality of life,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
know. I overheat, and then I'm like, I'm so cold.
And then you're so cold, so there's always that going on. Inflammation, I mean, they say just don't be stressed out.
Yeah,
Well,
it doesn't work, right?
yeah, just don't be stressed out, you know.
Yeah, right.
And then your blood, like
The
how
blood
healthy is your
flow.
blood flow? You know, then that's going to cause, that can cause inflammation as well too. Also, what is your scalp balance? Do you have psoriasis? Do you have
Oh,
dandruff?
yeah.
On the opposite extreme, do you have overly excessive
Oily
sebaceous,
scalp, yeah.
oily glands? You know, then all of that can be causing inflammation. Do you have a nervous tick and you're constantly scratching at your head and digging in? Are you
Yeah.
scratching your scalp? When you brush your hair, are you brushing and digging down into your scalp? And if you are, how hard are you pushing with the brush? Are those bristles beating the crap out of your scalp?
Yeah, not good at all.
There are so many different things that can cause inflammation all the time,
For
you know.
sure.
If you get hair extensions, if they're not put in correctly,
Oh, yeah.
that could be pulling the wrong way, fighting against natural fall. That can cause irritation, which could lead to inflammation.
Yeah,
There's so many different ways of going about it, you know. So yeah, I mean, if you're just looking at all the different things that make the scalp unhealthy, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. And it's important to talk about all these things, and it's important to identify all these things, because too many times we just glaze over it and we're just like, oh, you know, that product, I just need a better product. I just need a better product. It's not always a better product. You know,
yeah. Right.
what really makes a better product? Is there really is such a thing as a better product? You know, that's where a lot of subjective arguments are going to begin, because some people are going to say, well, yeah, if you have products with these kind of ingredients, then by default that makes them healthier than products that don't have these kind of ingredients. Yes, okay, fine. But is getting away from chemicals always the solution and always the answer? Do you sometimes, right? I mean, it makes you curious.
Yeah.
You got to think about this. Is it sometimes you need to target certain chemicals balanced out with certain nutrition afterwards just to counterbalance what is affected in your body? You know, some people say there's a homeopathic way to go. Some people say, to hell with that. I want the science. Give me the medicine. Give me the medicine.
Right.
And then some people are in the middle of it. I don't know. I suffer through a headache for a couple of hours, you know, and I try to drink a cup of tea or I try to do something else, bang my head against the wall to relieve the
Oh my
pressure
God.
before I'm willing to go pop a couple of, you know, aspirins or something, you know. So it all comes down to personal choice on what you want to do or how you want to go about it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So it's the balance is always the key, and discovering what works for your type of hair and your body and your scalp. That's really the main thing what it comes down to.
Right. And then another one is a poor circulation.
I mean, you can't, I mean, I don't know, your blood pressure. You know, I don't understand the numbers all the time. They say like 180 over 70 or 280 over 10 or something. I don't know what I don't know. I'm not saying it correctly at all. I don't understand what any of those numbers mean. But your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your overall body's health, you know, and your heart, your lungs, the oxygen in your blood, all of these things are going to matter. Your diet is going to affect that. How much exercise you get is going to affect that. How active you are, even if you don't exercise. If you're just sitting there like a potato, you're going to end up like a potato. You got to move around a little bit, you know?
Yeah, you got to keep the circulation going.
You got to keep the circulation going because your blood flow, your circulation is your body's delivery system for all the nutrition in your body. If you don't have good circulation, the nutrition can't travel, can't get delivered to where it's trying to go to. Okay. And once again, if you are not balanced and healthy and you don't have a lot of extra nutrition left over, then by the time the blood flow gets to your scalp or gets to your hands and your nails, there's not going to be a lot left to leave behind. So this is where your hair is going to start getting thinner, or you're going to start receding. You're going to start getting brittle nails. You're going to start getting those ridges in your nails, you know. Blood flow matters. It gets rough. It gets rough. So the point is, you need to walk.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not going to do, you got to get your steps in, right? But getting your steps in, like, yes, getting your steps in is good, but targeted.
Well, yeah, we got to reach a goal.
You got to reach your goal. So if you're just going to do steps overall, then you got to look at your height, your weight, your age, and you got to figure out how many steps that equals. Don't just go with just because your watch says you need 10,000 steps or 12,000 steps. You know, you got to do some research and figure this out. Otherwise, do a targeted 10, 15 minute, get your heart rate going. And again, look at your, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the exact numbers for every age group, but look it up, figure it out. Consult with your doctor, for the love of God. You know, figure this out. Like every day, I need 5 minutes. I need 20 minutes. I need whatever it is. Just get your heart rate going. And when I say get your heart rate going, you got to walk really fast, or you got to walk back and forth, or you're going to walk up and down some stairs. I don't know. You got to sit down and stand up 10 times, 20 times a day. I don't know what it is, but you got to figure out some form of exercise that you can handle, that's not going to freaking mess you up, and that you can consistently do to keep that blood flow going. It's vital. It's very, very important. Yeah, that's a great point that you're bringing up.
And also, why this scalp health matters in like every service?
Why
Why
does
does scalp
matter
health,
in every service?
yeah,
Like what service? Like what are you talking about?
any service like hair color or like treatments, how we were talking about. So let's go with the hair color first.
I mean, it's gonna matter overall. It's always gonna matter. Okay, in the salon, you work with really good stylists.
Right.
It doesn't happen very often, but think about the few times every once in a while you ever hear a client ask a question, or you ever see one of the stylists in the back go, the formula works. The formula always works. I don't know what happened this time. I hope she doesn't notice. Or does a client go, did it cover? Is it
Yeah.
covered? I think it's covered. Right? They're questioning.
Yeah.
If you just are doing, if a client sits down, here's the biggest thing about hair color. If a client just sits down in the chair, and I see this so many times, we go through this in class so many times, and I see this at the salon myself all the time too. Client sits down, and then the stylist comes over, looks at the hair, and goes, oh yeah, looks good, all right. So I just need to touch up the new growth. I don't need to pull it through this time. Just sit tight. I'll be right back. And then they just go, mix up the color, come back, start applying it, and then they call it a day and they're done with the service.
Okay.
They don't comb through, brush through, evaluate the scalp. They just kind of look at it. They look at the new growth. How much has it grown out? They look at the ends. Has it faded? Do I need to pull it through? Do I need to tone it? They're in and out real quick, They don't evaluate. They don't ask questions. Have you changed your shampoo? Have you changed how often you're washing your hair? Have you changed this? Have you changed that? They don't look to see, have you been, like, I don't know, is there scaling? Is there dead skin? Is there buildup? Is there greasy? Is there oily? Like, they don't feel, they don't touch, they don't run the hands through the hair across the scalp. One of the things I do all the time, every single time, without fail, because it's the make or break of everything. This is the starting point. When a client sits down in your chair, you're going to have to ask them really quick, how was it last time? At a minimum,
Right.
How did it go out? How did you like it? Are we changing anything? Are we doing anything new? At a minimum, you got to ask those questions. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Even if that takes 10, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, however long it takes, there is no reason why you can't just grab a brush, grab the hair from the occipital bone, from the back of the head or throughout the crown, and just start brushing through that real quick and look at the scalp and look at the hair as you're brushing through. There is no reason why you can't just brush through the whole scalp. There's no reason you can't just grab it from the parietal, from the round of the head, and just brush that down and take a look through there, take a look through there, take a look through there, wherever. Okay. I hope at some point you are brushing your client's hair out before you're applying hair color. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of stylists just go, mix up a bowl of color, come back with the brush, and then they start using the back of the brush, the applicator brush, to section out the hair, pull it open, kind of like tear through the tangling, and then just slap the color on, and then go through the next section, go through the next section. And they're just slapping that freaking color on there with the applicator brush,
Wow.
And it's like, gotta go faster, gotta go faster, gotta go faster. Like, yeah, okay,
You
fine.
don't gotta go faster.
You gotta go consistent.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what matters. You gotta go consistent. What is the purpose of you gotta go faster if you skip a spot, miss a spot, or you don't or you get everything right, but you don't saturate enough?
Yeah.
Then what is the point of all of that?
Nothing.
And there was some buildup on there, and you could have seen that, and you could have really quickly either broken it up with the brush and brushed through it, or taken them back to the shampoo bowl, wash their hair real quick, clarify them real quick, bring them back. and then apply it on an even, clean scalp. I mean, that could have saved you an entire redo service.
Yeah.
At a minimum, it saves you an entire redo service. At a maximum, I mean, you got a happy client and you've got more consistent color.
That's fair.
We harp on clarifying all the time, and
Oh, yeah.
we laugh because of how much we harp on clarifying all the time,
Yeah.
But if you can afford the time to do it, if you're removing all the free radicals, if you're removing all the buildup, and you're giving yourself a clean palette to work off of, an even clean palette to work off of. And look at technology nowadays. So many hair colors nowadays you can apply on clean, towel dried, freshly clarified hair. You don't have to blow dry the hair 100% dry before you apply the color. And that's freaking amazing. That's awesome. So much so that in actuality, it ends up happening this. Let's say you don't clarify shampoo somebody, okay? You may need to mix a full ounce of color, maybe an ounce and a half, potentially 2 ounces of color.
Wow.
Now, if you're doing equal parts with developer,
that's a lot.
That's a lot of freaking product, man. So you take an ounce of color, then you're taking an ounce of developer. You got 2 ounces of product total for application. And I'm not saying, oh, she's got thick hair, she's got coarse hair, some people got long hair. You have to. I'm just talking about on average. I see so many stylists mixing a full ounce of color, a full ounce of developer, 2 ounces of total product, and sometimes it's not enough. Now, if you pre-clarify shampoo the hair and you're applying on freshly washed, towel dried, that dampness in the hair, it's going to balance out your saturation. It's going to spread that more evenly throughout the hair. You are not going to need as much product. You may only need a half an ounce or an ounce instead of an ounce to 2 ounces.
Yeah, wow.
Huge difference. Huge difference. Because if you're only needing a half an ounce now and then a half an ounce of developer, you're talking about 1 ounce of full product, total product to apply.
Yeah.
And if that's what the hair needs for even saturation, then that's fine. And then as the moisture starts to evaporate and dry and it releases from the hair, it's absorbing, pulling in that color. You're getting better saturation, more even coverage. It's freaking awesome. I mean, it's a lot more involved than that. We have color classes for that. But I mean, just as a simple explanation, clarifying shampoo is huge. Why are we willing to do it before a perm? Why are we willing to do it before?
There's a lot of different
a relaxer service? We're willing to do it before hair extensions, before hair replacement. We are willing to do it before every other freaking thing out there. But when it comes to hair color, there is still this standing belief that's 30 years old, 40 years old, that the dirtier the hair is, the more buildup there is, the better the color is going to take. Once upon a time, it was a thing,
Right.
But the technology is so much better nowadays. Everything is so much cleaner, so much healthier, there's so much more natural ingredients that are built in. The chemical levels are so much lower. Okay? So much lower. You don't need to have dirty buildup on the hair for a hair color to take so nicely, as an example. And here's the fun of it. Hair color works at the lowest pH compared to perms and relaxers and treatments. Those treatments have a way higher, well, I say way higher, but like within the range of where they all live, the pH levels of where those other services work at in comparison to hair color are so much higher.
Wow.
And yet we always glaze over hair color for some reason, but we're so adamant about properly preparing a service for every other service. And I get it. It comes down to timing. It comes down to, is it running behind schedule, how stressed out you are that day. you know, how many people you got in between during the processing time. I understand time management is a thing. I get it. I do. I'm guilty of it myself. I don't clarify. I'd be a liar. I'd be remiss if I said, you know, oh, you just clarify everybody, and then I don't do it myself.
I get it.
But I understand when something goes wrong, or if and when something goes wrong, I understand what the variable was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sitting there going out there and going, oh, you know, this product, they must have changed the product. No. Because it's worked before and it's working on everybody else afterwards. We forget the 10 successes we have in a day. We harp on the one, you know, failure all the time. You know, it's because it sucks, man. That stays with you, keeps you up at night.
So now let's go into the treatments.
I mean, treatments. Okay, so yeah, I mean, we're talking about all this buildup and we're talking about all these things.
Right. Like how you said, you clarify and then you go into the treatment.
You know, clarifying at a minimum is going to remove any kind of buildup. It's going to balance out, hopefully, any kind of scalp condition you have. If you have excessively overactive sebaceous glands, you have oily scalp, or if you just have dry scalp and scaling, if you unfortunately suffer from psoriasis, you know, and that's through your scalp as well. That's painful as hell. That one I know. That one I know. Freaking holy hell, man! When I have a flare up, I go freaking digging into my crown like crazy. I look like I'm snowing all over my clothes. It's bad how hard I dig in. With that said, you got to get on a consistent regimen, and you got to figure out if you're going in the shower and you turn yourself into a Red Lobster because hot water.
Oh, no, spaghetti noodle.
A spaghetti noodle.
Pasta.
Okay, if you turn it, yeah, okay. If you're making yourself a wet noodle, you're making yourself pasta in the shower, you know, because you enjoy the hot water. You have to understand that it is expanding. That heat is excessively expanding your cuticle. Okay, the outer layer of your pores of your skin. If you are not balancing that out with an ice bath afterwards to ensure that you contract it down completely, close it, seal it back down completely, then you're going to be left halfway open.
Yeah.
That's going to lead to what everybody complains about, frizz and static and flyaways, you know. It's going to be a problem. So at a minimum, you got to find the temperature that's warm enough, that's comfortable for, not convenient, comfortable for you, but cool enough or cold enough where it's going to keep everything from raising and opening or expanding too much. When you're washing, when you're shampooing, you need to use the balls of your fingertips, you know, the tips of your finger, the balls of your finger, the pads. And you really got to get in there and you got to massage. You got to be moving your skin, okay? You got to go through. You got to do all of that. You got to really get in there and do all of that. Getting in and scrubbing and going to town, that may feel good. You may like it rough that way. Okay, fine. But if you're digging in too hard, you might be creating micro tears or lesions across your scalp. You might be injuring yourself without even freaking realizing it. You know, you gotta massage, and you gotta go in circular motions, and you gotta go all the way through. Start from the center, work your way back. Start from, you know, and then just go line, a row, and go all the way around. Okay. The other thing is, a lot of shampoos nowadays don't have sulfates in them. A lot of shampoos nowadays are sulfate free, so you're not going to be seeing big lather. But you got to look for the suds. Or excuse me, I'm saying it backwards. You're not going to see a lot of suds because a lot of shampoos are sulfate free these days.
Yeah.
So you got to find the lather. You got to get a good rich lather going. If You're sitting there and you're doing all this massaging and you're shampooing your hair and there is no lather coming. That means your scalp and your hair, like a sponge, has absorbed everything. You need to rinse that out
Do
and
it
you need
again.
to go again. And I don't know the answer. Sometimes you need to do it twice, 3 times. Sometimes you need to do it 4 times. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you got to keep doing it until you get a good lather going. That's how you know that your scalp and your hair has absorbed everything it can, and that lather is the excess left over. And then you're rinsing that out. Okay. Once you rinse that out, when you get your conditioner, you got to go through and you got to run that through. Now, a lot of people don't like putting conditioner at their scalp because they feel like it makes their hair flat, weighs their hair flat, weighs it down. Especially if you have softer hair, thinner hair, finer hair. I understand. Okay, fine. Then keep it at the midshaft and the ends.
I was going to say that, yeah, you don't need a lot. And regardless, you don't need a lot on the top. You just do the midshaft to the ends, and then you just put the little bit by the top. So this way you could just massage your scalp, and then that's it.
And that's fine. And then you don't leave it on, you don't leave it. If you do put it to your scalp, you don't leave it that long, and then you rinse it out real quick, right? When I say don't leave it on that long, like 3 minutes, not 10 seconds.
Right.
10, 20, 30 seconds isn't doing a lot. It needs a few minutes. Okay, fine. You rinse it out. Now, if you don't want to put conditioner to your scalp, that's why they have serums. That's why they have scalp serums. It's like taking your vitamins. That scalp serum is different than an oil. Serum is different.
Right.
What's the other word I'm thinking of? Oils and oh gosh, I just blanked out for a second. As it goes, serum is different. Oil is going to sit topically and heavy. It's got a larger molecular structure to it. That's the whole point. Okay. A serum is going to absorb and then evaporate. It's not going to sit heavy.
Right.
That's the difference. So scalp oils, treatment oils or serums, scalp serums and treatment serums like that, those are good for you. And you can put that on, and then you can go in and put your leave-in conditioner or put your products and your base products you put, and you lay that right over it, and that's totally fine. At least this way, it helps calm things down. It reduces inflammation. It reduces irritation, which could also lead to inflammation. It gives you the nutritional value that you need, because if you just went in and shampooed everything, that cleanses and removes. If you're not replenishing and restoring, you're only waiting for your body to naturally rejuvenate itself. It may take a long time, or your body may not be producing enough to rejuvenate your scalp enough. So you may need some external stimulants, some external help.
Right.
So those are the kind of things that you got to think about. And then when you're going into your retail products, you also have to think about, some retail products are supposed to be heavy. Some of them are going to be lightweight. You're going to have personal preferences of what you like to do.
Right.
Some people like hairspray. Some people like a lot of hairspray. Some people like the
beehive.
Which one?
The beehive.
Beehive? What are you
volume.
What's wrong with the beehive nowadays? You know what? I take it back. Big hair is back, baby. Big hair, big hair is popular again. So
don't you say the closer to heaven, the bigger the hair?
That's what they say in the South. Yeah, the bigger the hair, the closer to God. Yeah, closer to heaven. Wow. No, look. And 80s and 90s throwback styles are those retro styles are back. They're trendy. So big hair is always going to be a thing, which means you need hairsprays. And they're trying to improve the ingredients on hairsprays. They're trying to lower all the VOCs, and there's all that stuff going on. But at the end of the day, there's still got to be alcohol in there. There's got to be something in there, some kind of resin tackiness that makes that spray stick.
Mm-hmm.
which also is going to lead to buildup, okay, and drying out of the hair. You need to have something in your mousses, in your gels, in your pastes, in your pomades, whatever kind of products you're going to use. There's got to be something in there to make it stick and make it hold and make it work. A lot of people use the gray cover-up sprays and powders.
Oh, true. That's another thing. Yeah.
That's another thing. And they work fantastic. I'm not saying anything negative against anything. I'm all for
No.
all of it. You just have to understand that if you're putting it on, you got to get it off, okay?
Yeah, you have to wash it off.
You can explain this better than I can. But like if you put a full face of makeup on, you're not supposed to go to sleep with it, or you're supposed to go to sleep with a full face of makeup on?
Well, you're not supposed to. It's not good for you, but you have to just wash it all off, and then you're supposed to go to bed. But I
Is there a
know
way
some people like to keep it on because they don't want to show their real face to their significant other or something, but that's another story. But yes, you're supposed to wash it off. It cleans the
you don't look like
pores.
this all the time? What do you actually look like?
Oh, come
Do you
on.
understand why you're not supposed to leave makeup on and go to sleep with it?
It clogs your pores.
Clogs your pore. That would be bad.
Yeah, and you don't want no irritation and all that either. So you want to wash it off.
I mean, if you clog your pores, what do they used to call them? Like pepperoni face, like pizza face? You know, you
Yeah.
clogged pores leads to acne.
Oh.
You know, that was one of the biggest problems growing up. That's what they used to make fun of us. So yeah, okay. So if you understand that about your face makeup, I mean, the scalp is the same thing. Product buildup on the scalp is the same exact thing. So that's a big one.
Okay. So I think
That's a real big one.
I think we kind of covered all that with the retail and all that. And then there was hair growth, which I believe we also did cover that because you said like circulation and all that.
I mean, hair growth, you got to think about this and hair growth too. Okay, the pores on your head, on your scalp, if they're clogged, then you see like a lot of women, they'll say, I used to have thick, coarse hair and now my hair is thinning.
Yeah.
Is it always because of age?
Probably not necessarily.
Not necessarily, right? Because even if you have a young person and say, man, my hair's been thinning lately, you know, and you see they're doing all these new things, they're changing their regimen, their lifestyle has changed a lot. You really got to think about this. If you're, I don't know, if you're brushing your teeth, if you're doing dishes, I don't know, just think about a drain sink. Just think about running, okay? If the sink is clogged, then the water can't go down so fast. It takes longer because the sink is clogged, right? If you clean the clog, then all the water flows through real good. That's how your pores are for your hair. If your pores are clogged, like if your pore is this big, your hair can grow that thick, that full. But if you've got buildup and it's clogged, then it's only going to be this thin. There's no room for your hair to grow out thick and full and strong anymore. It's going to get thinned out. That's a lot of that. You know, this is another reason why that buildup is a bad day.
Right.
You got to keep an eye on how your hair is growing. You got to keep an eye on your shedding. There is such a thing called seasonal shedding.
Oh, sure.
There is such a thing as just phases. You know, there's a growing phase, there's a resting phase, there's a shedding phase. The shedding phase is not that long, but when it hits, it can hit hard. You know, you're supposed to shed every single day on average. Some people, when it starts getting excessive, you got to keep track of it. Has it been happening for a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months? If anything has been going on for more than 3 months, you need to start getting some consultations done and start trying to figure something out. If anything's going on for 3 months, that That's a sign. Your body's trying to tell you something.
Yeah,
Stop it.
you're missing something, like, you know.
You might have some imbalance that you don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stylists, excuse me, stylists in general know enough about enough. Some
Yeah,
stylists know a little bit more about some things. You could go to a dermatologist, you can go to a trichologist. There are different degrees of specializations that you can go to get consults on and get second opinions on to try to figure out what is happening to you.
right.
I'm all for that too. You should. You absolutely should. Um, I keep talking about how we're going to be having that scalp health class.
Sure.
We're going to be deep diving into a lot of the solutions on how to identify these things and what to do and when and how to recommend to a stylist program or to a dermatologist program or to a trichologist program. We don't have the time today to go through all of it and deep dive into all of it, but in class, it's a longer class. We have time. That March 2nd, the head spa, in Downers Grove that we're going to be doing. I mean, that one is going to be the full day dedicated to exfoliating and then rejuvenating.
Right, hydration.
Setting up on a regimen for proper care. I mean, all of those kind of things. There's so many different ways and there's so many different degrees that you can attack all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Physicality is the first line of defense to getting good, clean scalp health. Medicine or product, I guess products would be the second phase of what you can do with it.
Yeah, so they can help you. Mm-hmm.
Right. Medicine would be the third, and then I don't know, I guess some kind of surgery would be like the last resort. But there are so many different degrees and levels to this. There's so many variables involved.
That's true. That's why the consultation is important.
The consultation is so important. And a proper consultation, evaluating. Don't just look at somebody's head and try to ask them if everything is good just so you can get back there and start mixing your color or getting that whatever the service is started because you're terrified of running 30 seconds late or a minute behind schedule. Sometimes, and it sucks, sometimes it's okay to run behind schedule if you think you need to spend an extra couple of minutes talking to somebody and doing an extended consultation. Our jobs, our careers, our lifestyle is this. In an ideal world, yeah, sure, you'd love to be on time. But the reality is sometimes we're not on time, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to have clients up your butt about it, show me one industry, show me one thing in our day-to-day life where you can go to somewhere and you are not waiting in line for something.
Yeah, it's very real.
Drive down the street without a red light. Now I got to stop and wait for the light to turn green. I cannot go to the grocery store and just check out. I got to wait for the register to open up or for the cashier, for it to be my turn. I can't go to a movie at 4:00 and have it start at 4. It starts at 6:30 because there's an hour and a half of freaking, commercials and previews and trailers and other BS. Okay. It sucks. It sucks. You go to the doctor, you got to wait. Everywhere you have to wait. Even at Starbucks, you got to wait. You give your order immediately. You still got to wait for them to make it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to run behind. It's painful. It's stressful. It's not fun at all.
It could be.
No. No, I'll say it. It is. It totally is. But if that's what it takes to help the client now,
right, then it'll help them for later.
Hopefully it'll help them for later, and hopefully the next client afterwards is going to see that and understand that and appreciate that more than anything else, And you got to feel good about the services that you're performing and what you're doing. That's what it comes down to. That's
yeah.
best advice. Say my name.
Yeah.
I don't know what your name is, but okay, I'll say it.
What?
Is the comment. Say my name. So yeah. That's where we're at. All right.
Yep,
You got
that's
anything
what
else
we
or
got.
wrap this up?
I think that wraps it up.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining in. I appreciate you running this live today with me.
Thank you.
And yeah, then we'll go from there. Go to HTB Beauty. HTB Beauty.
.com.
Check us out. Look at the classes that we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. They're filling up quickly. Have fun out there. Go make a difference, one client at a time. Thank you all. We'll catch you next week.
Bye.
The SFTB podcast was not recorded in front of a live studio audience, so thanks for joining us for today's episode. If our hair topics made you smile, give us a thumbs up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll read them while waiting for our caller to process. Share this video with your stylists and friends. It helps us make a difference, one strand at a time. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Because your hair deserves all the latest and greatest tips.